Sometimes I think we fail to remember that we made this world they're growing up in.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs made the iPhone. We go, kids today, they're on screen. Yeah, well, we made the screens, Bob.
Welcome to Generations at Work, where our goal is to build bridges and not walls between different generations in the workplace. Today's topic is a little scary. It's a new trend that we're seeing from our youngest generation. Tim, what do you want to call this topic today?
Susan, I want to call this the revenge of Generation Z and how you can capitalize on it. Seriously, there is a new trend. It's a new pattern, and some employers are not quite sure what to do with it. But once we talk over the data, today I want to make this really practical. How can we lead this youngest team member better?
That's awesome. It's a scary topic, but a real topic, and it's happening. And so what is this trend you're seeing in the young generation now?
Well, Susan, millions of young team members from Generation Z have had it. They are fed up, believe it or not, with their anxiety, with their loneliness, and with the angst they feel, and the overwhelming sense they have of too many screens in their lives. So this person we call the screenager is done with screens. At least many of them are. And they're actually trying to cut back.
And that's different than probably most leaders, parents, teachers think.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes I think we fail to remember that we made this world they're growing up in.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs made the iPhone, et cetera, et cetera. So we go, kids today, they're on screen. Yeah, well, we made the screens, Bob. So what I'm suggesting is I think they've realized this screen has caused anxiety, even depression, this loneliness. Because I'm connected, I feel disconnected. And they're saying, I'm walking away, at least to a degree, from this technical world that I have grown accustomed to. And they're finding a greater sense of peace of mind and calm and actually connection, in-person connection. It's quite amazing.
Which is great since mental health is one of this generation's biggest issues.
Yeah.
Now, is this something that you're seeing in all the research you're doing, or is the research telling us this, or where are we getting this from?
Yeah, it's both anecdotal and research-based. So I talked to a 23-year-old young woman, a worker, an employee named Abby, and Abby said, I guess we've always been countercultural, but I feel this new thing happening is stronger than ever. I'm getting off social media and I'm finding quiet places to hang outside. And I'm thinking,
interesting.
Who are you and what have you done with Generation Z? Now you have a Gen Z or two, don't you, as a mom?
So I have
We have young adult children, and I am seeing a place where they were so addicted perhaps to screens that they realize I've got to do something. Nobody's going to do it for me. So here's the data that first got me interested in this. NBC News did a survey. And they asked Gen Zers a number of questions, but one of the questions they asked was, if you could live at any time, when would you want to live? The past, the present, or the future? And quite frankly, they anticipated most of them would say, oh, I want to live in the future with robots and everything else. The biggest or largest number of Gen Zers said, I want to go back to the past. Almost half said, I wish I could live in the past. A smaller number said the present, and a smaller number said the future. In other words, when they look at the future, they go, I see so much uncertainty, so much complexity. I don't like where my brain is going right now. And there's a wishfulness for the past. Now, let me add this. I had a part of my young adulthood where I thought, wish I could live in Grandma and Grandpa's day where they lived on a farm and just watched horses all day long. But I think there's something even more to it than just that. I think they want to simplify their life. And I think as managers, leaders, business people, and parents, we can say maybe we can take a cue from this and help them build a simpler life.
But don't you even think, like at the start of COVID, we kind of did that?
Yeah, we
everything
did.
slowed down. We weren't out everywhere.
Yeah.
We were at home. We were playing games. We were in
Yeah.
the yard. We were doing I mean, life slowed down.
Yeah, it did. And that part was good. The part that wasn't good is we got really lonely.
Yes.
Which is obvious. So all generations now are registering more loneliness than ever before. But this is my hunch, but as I look at the data, I feel like Gen Z's saying to us, life is out of control. And listeners, I bet sometimes you feel like your life is out of control. I don't think it has to be this way. We don't have to look at every notification. We don't have to, every pop-up, every text message. We don't have to get to it. So Gen Z is saying, I want to take some control back. So let's say if you're a leader, you've got a 25-year-old team member, maybe you can help them take that control back, and you've got a better team member now because they are in control and maybe a little bit more peace of mind in your team member.
Even being a Gen Xer, I feel like
Yeah.
it's out of control with me. Like,
Yeah.
I want to take it back. But a
Yeah.
Gen Zer, having that skill set just to be able to do that, to first of all acknowledge it or be aware of it, but then actually act on it.
Yeah, yeah. So, Susan, here's what I'm seeing. If I could look at the macro, not the micro, I feel like in so many fronts in the life of a Gen Zer, they're yearning for simpler times. And here's a phrase, retro is in. Now, retro's been in for quite a while. Think about music.
It all comes
Gen
back.
Gen Zers are buying record players and phonograph player, I don't know if you know this, but there's a whole new trend that's been picked up by the Washington Post, New York Times. Gen Zers are going back to the shopping mall.
Yeah.
Those have been museums for a while where it seemed like ghost towns, but Gen Zers, teenagers are
community.
gathering.
It's community.
Yeah, they want community. So the mall, remember the mall used to be where we
That's
hung
where we
out.
hang out. Skating rink, the mall, the cruising, right?
That's
Yeah.
right, exactly.
We do that.
So going back to the movie cinema, I hear a lot of Gen Zers go, the best music was the 1970s.
And
I'm
we're
going,
like,
oh
heck
my
yeah,
God.
heck
Yeah,
yeah.
finally you got
80s,
something
that was the
right.
80s, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you're an 80s girl.
Yeah.
So there's a major comeback among Gen Z team members to the mall, the record player, looking for places to hang out in person, face to face with friends. Some have become Luddites. I don't know if you've
I
heard
don't
that
know
term.
that term.
A Luddite is someone that has chosen to get off all screens. Not all,
Interesting.
but now many Gen Zers are getting off social media, but some are getting off all screens, and that's a Luddite, Luddites. You can look it up if you want to, listeners, but it's on their own volition. Nobody's telling them to do this. Well, maybe mama is telling them to do
It
this.
might be helping their mental health.
Yes, I think that's what they want. They don't not want to be with friends on Instagram or whatever, but they don't like what it does to their levels of angst.
And Tim, I would even argue that, quote, their friends on Instagram, they're not friends.
Yeah, they're not
They're
really friends
social
anyway.
acquaintances,
Yeah.
and maybe never even met them before.
Yeah.
I read an interesting study that said the loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
Loneliness was just as bad for your health as smoking 12 cigarettes a
Yeah,
day.
loneliness is the new smoking. It's really, really crazy. I don't feel like I'm lonely, but keep in mind, I'm a 60-something, so I've maintained in-person relationships because that's what I got used to in the 70s and 80s and 90s.
And this generation didn't know how to do that.
That's right.
Especially my 15-year-old was
Yeah.
in 4th grade when COVID hit.
Yes.
And he was already a little bit more introverted. And then all of a sudden he's
Oh,
put
my
by
gosh.
himself. That's a disaster.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I heard one Gen Zer say this, I want to be in the room, not on Zoom.
I like that.
Isn't that good?
Well, maybe that's good news for
Yeah.
leaders because Gen Zers kind of want to come back in the workplace. And
Yeah.
I hear this all the time with the groups I
Yeah.
work with is they
Yeah.
don't want to be in the office. And I
Yeah.
said, nah, I'm gonna fight you on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. There's a mixed message. We'll get into ideas in just a minute, but there is a mixed. I think they love the freedom that they have in their jammies at
Yes.
home with a coffee, but they do know they need to build social capital. So there's a term that some of you listeners have heard. I'm sure it's called touch grass.
Okay.
So touch grass has been around for some years now.
I'm hearing grounding.
It was at first an insult to the gamers that were needing to get back in the real world and get off the screen. So touch grass was get outside, get in the real world, and maybe touch the lawn, that sort of thing. But now it's become bigger because it has so many meanings. It means get face to face, get back in the real world, and I think they realize anecdotally, not through research, I'm a better person when I'm with people face to face. So
So that's
Yeah.
where they want to get their revenge,
Yeah,
if you will,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
but hasn't every generation really taken revenge on the older generation? This has been
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah, I'm a part of the baby boomer gen. We had our revolt back in the 60s, protest and flower children and, anti-Vietnam War. But here's what Neil Howe and William Strauss write. They are historians. William Strauss has passed away. But they write how each new generation does three things.
Okay.
Every new young generation breaks with a previous generation. So in today's world, that would mean Generation Z would say to the millennials, you're cool, but we're cooler, okay? You like, so-and-so. You like Bruno Mars. I love Taylor Swift or whatever, okay? So there's a break with you're cool, but we're cooler.
We're cooler.
And then the second thing a new generation does is they correct 2 generations ahead.
Interesting.
So that might be mom and dad's generation. So they might say to their mom, I love you, but I will never do that to my children. So there's a sense of correction. Maybe the pendulum swings to the other extreme. That's what I think is happening here with this movement away from screens is they want to correct what you all let happen. Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and everything else. So they're pushing back. The pendulum is swinging to the other side. And there's probably a happy medium, but that's another podcast for another time. The third thing, though, that that the newer generation wants to do, so break with the previous generation, correct 2 generations ahead. The third one is replace 3 generations ahead.
Interesting.
So that might be grandparents. And the Gen Zer intuitively knows grandma and grandpa are not going to be here much longer. And I love what they represented. I hear Gen Zers say, I love my grandma and grandpa. They represent simpler times. So maybe that is the retro to the phonograph or the record player, because that was back in the 50s. But in any case, our generation did it back in our day, and now they're doing it as well. But I think what they're doing could actually be healthy, and we as leaders, parents, coaches need to help them get healthy. If we got a mentally healthy young team member, we got a better team member.
So, and maybe this is just my lens on it, but I feel like this generation, Gen Z, is taking back more.
I do
They're
too.
taking more ownership of things,
Yeah.
But I hear it opposite in this world of this corporate world that I work with clients. I hear it all the time. Oh, this generation doesn't want to work.
Yeah,
This generation.
yeah.
I see it a little different. I have a lot of faith in this generation.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. We have interviewed Gen Zers on this very podcast, like Colin Webb and others. And my gosh, I think, oh goodness, I will be working for you one day, because they have some cognitive abilities based on the world they grew up in that I don't have. Now, I think I got a little wisdom to offer, and so do you, but yeah, this new
But
generation.
they have wisdom too that we can
Yes,
benefit
that's
from.
right, yeah.
It's symbiotic relationship.
Well, I think of Chip Conley in his terms, modern elders and young geniuses. That's what we have in the workplace. You and I are modern
How
elders.
about an elderly genius? Come on.
I wish for that. But by modern elders, what he means is if we've been around 25, 30, 35 years, we've got some stuff we stored up that we could offer. It's wisdom. We are a modern elder, but they bring in some young genius-like smarts, intuitive about AI, intuitive about where culture's going and maybe even tomorrow's consumer, which we better understand.
Have you ever sat in a meeting where it sounds like nobody's speaking the same language, even though everyone is speaking the same language? That's not a communication problem. That's a generational problem. 5 generations, 1 workplace, 5 different ideas about feedback, loyalty, and leadership. Maxwell Leadership and best-selling author Tim Elmore built Leading Multi-Generational Teams, a workshop to help you close that gap and turn it into your biggest advantage. Connect with our team to learn more at maxwellleadership.com/generations.
All right, let's go there. You came up with 7 ideas on
Yeah.
how to capitalize
Yes.
on this Gen Z pattern. Let's go with number 1.
Okay.
Ideal 1.
Yeah. All right. I'll make these quick because there's 7. But listeners, I'm hoping this is helpful for you. So idea number 1, believe it or not, by and large, Gen Z wants to come back to the office.
Hey, that's great news.
We all assumed, nope, they don't, like you just hinted at.
I hear it all the time.
But they're the population among all four that might be at work that most wants to return to the office and not work from home, according to a 2025 Gallup survey. So when Gallup did this survey, they assumed everybody just wants to work from home. Actually, boomers wanted to stay home because I've been to work for 40 years. I don't want to come in anymore. But Gen Z was very aware, I have not built enough social capital. I need to get in and meet Rob and Susan and Frank and whoever else. And so they wanted to come back. Now, they love the luxury of staying at home in their sweats. But
is that why we're seeing more hybrid, you think?
I think so. And I think bosses are right now trying to figure out, what do we do with this? And maybe hybrid is the answer. But I think we need to know there's something good that happens when we're face to face in a workplace.
It's different.
And some of the best ideas are accidental in the hallway, where we just grab somebody and say, you know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
And it's not a planned meeting, but we go, oh my gosh, we should get a whiteboard and write that out. So we need to remember there's some good that might be worth the expense.
Yeah, it's the energy. Or,
yes.
hey, I was just walking by and all of a sudden you hit a social connection.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So the question I'm asking listeners right now for you is, could you change your policy to encourage more in-person time at your workplace? Okay?
One of the things I always encourage my clients is you have to have more interaction face to face.
Yeah,
all
I
right,
do too.
Idea 2, Tim.
Idea 2. Some of you are doing this, but if you're not, you should consider it. Provide more food for team lunches.
Isn't that every generation's love language?
It is. Well, I'm a guy, and it's my love language. The key to my heart is through my stomach. But here's what we did at Growing Leaders.
I was going to say, you did this at Growing Leaders, which I love.
So we purchased thousands of dollars worth of food every month, but we had one rule. You cannot take this food and eat for free alone in your office. You can't grab the food, go back to your office and get in front of your computer and eat alone. You had to eat with a team member. What we wanted to do was to foster community. So free food if you eat with somebody. Now, if you don't want to eat with somebody, it's fine. You can go out and pay for your own lunch, Bob. I don't know why I pick on Bob. I don't. He gets picked on all the time. But
he's a boomer.
It so worked in our office. We had
I was going to say, what did you see from that?
Laughter and connections. And by the way, they didn't always talk about work. In fact, most of the time, they avoided work.
And Tim, that's culture.
That's
building culture.
That
and that's
is
what we hear all the time is we need to build better cultures.
Yeah, you're right.
We need to build better cultures.
So we started that over a decade ago, and it fostered this community. It fostered better ideas that were, I call, accidental ideas. We found that our staff was laughing more and could hardly wait for that mealtime. So consider using food as a tool to bring people together. Yeah.
Even a
yes.
$10 pizza will do
That's
wonders,
right.
right?
It's amazing what pizza does.
Idea 3.
The third idea is, what if you used other means besides social media to communicate? That would be outside and inside.
Okay.
Now, social media is a thing for sure. Some of you have paid marketing departments that use social media primarily. Okay. But this is going to help those who are trying to cut back on their social media, which is a lot of Gen Zers, not all, but many. Share the data that you have to share in a 2-hour rule and urge staff to limit their time. So let me talk about this 2-hour rule. Dr. Jean Twenge at San Diego State University, I've mentioned her before on this, noticed when she did a meta-analysis on all the research, she said, it's so weird, but someone that spends less than 2 hours on social media every day is measurably less vulnerable to anxiety, depression, and panic attacks, all those mental health issues. Once you go above 2 hours, she said it's weird, but it's almost like a hockey stick. It's like up and to the right. So the more hours you spend on social media, even though it's not about topics that are angst-filled, it might be friends. But that screen, your brain wasn't meant for a screen all day long. So I think as leaders, we can't control all of their lives, but we can say, listen, while you're here 8 hours, we want you to follow the 2-hour rule for your own sake. I met with my own adult children when this data came out. I went and got a burrito with my son, and I said,
you
John,
did the food thing.
That's right. I did the food. So I did 2 ideas here.
And in the room, not the Zoom.
That's right. Look
you
at
go.
me practicing
I
what
know,
I
look,
preach.
That's so good.
But I showed Jonathan, my son, the data, and on his own on his own, he said, you know what, I'm going to cut back on that. I don't need that. I don't like what it does to me. But it wasn't me pointing the finger saying, get off. It was me just sharing for your own good. I share this research with you. So maybe that's a good way to go. Share the research in a quick article and let them draw some conclusions.
And let them think about it. I try to get my kids to do that. My daughter said to me the other day, she goes, look, Mom. Now she watches like Netflix on her phone. So she goes, look, Mom, it was only 8 hours today. And that was down 20%. And I'm like, Mary Grace. And she said, well, Mom, I'm watching Netflix. She's in one of these shows. But all right, idea 4, Tim.
Idea 4. This one's going to sound weird, so I apologize up front. What if you, based on research, piped in sounds and images that are natural and calming into your workspace?
I love that.
Like from a forest or a beach. Now, all of us have been to places where there's new age music going on, and some of you think it's crazy, but there's some research that I'll share in just a minute that natural sounds like a beach and waves or the forest and the trees and the birds chirping, just lightly, it doesn't have to drown everything else out, can be have a calming effect, and it's natural. So here's the data. Some studies have said this can be a cure for various mental health issues, showing that it can lower cortisol, a hormone that causes stress. We know that cortisol is that negative chemical.
Causes weight too.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Another study found that listening to recordings of nature sounds might reduce pain, enhance mood, and more. So when I go in for some doctor's appointments, some of my specialists, I'm diabetic, they'll have this in the office, and I'll notice it eventually, not immediately, but it's like, I feel like
that's what they do in spas.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it in spa. And that's how just this morning, I walked into my leader's office. It was early. We got here early this morning. In fact, I was here real early, and he was here before me.
Yeah.
And he had a candle burning, a natural scent candle with music in the background. And I said, I was like, it smells good in here. This is really nice. He goes, this is my calm before the day.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. Good.
There you go. All right. Idea 5.
Idea 5. When you have reports to share with your team, perhaps offer both a digital version and an analog version. So maybe they still want to read the screen, the digital report on their email, but I have found that sometimes when you offer paper, the old-fashioned grandma and grandpa paper, they actually prefer it. And again, it keeps them off a screen. So not a big deal, but maybe just a nice one. You do cut a few trees down to do this, but it may be helping the mental health issue that you face.
As a Gen Xer, I love this because I am a note taker, and adult learning styles show some people can look at it, some people can just listen to it.
That's right.
I like to put my fingers on it, highlight it, write something about it, draw a picture. So I love this idea. I love idea 5. All right, idea 6.
Idea 6, 2 more to go. I would suggest host more in-person gatherings and meetings, but keep them short. So all the research that I gathered said in-person meetings are helpful. There's something that happens when we read body language and we're not on Zoom. So there's verbal, there's nonverbal, and paraverbal language all being used. So our tone, our look, and our sound. But then here's what we did that exercised this idea. We did Monday morning stand-up meetings.
Love this idea.
Many do this, I suppose, but we started our day. Everybody got in, they grabbed their coffee, but we had a stand-up meeting. The reason you stand up is it keeps the meeting shorter. Once you sit down, good luck with getting that done in 10 minutes. We tried to limit it to about 10 to 12 minutes, where each department gave a quick update on what they accomplished last week, where they were going this week. But there was always a time of laughter because we were celebrating something.
Good way to start the
and we
day.
were saying, ooh, this is ahead, this is coming. But that quick stand-up meeting was in person, fast, but got us connected, and it helped our mental health.
Listen, I have a Canadian client that they do this about 10 to 12 minutes a day. They all gather, bring their coffee, whatever they're drinking in the morning, protein, whatever. And it brings an energy to the day. It also helps them problem solve quickly. And so I introduced this to another client of mine in Alabama. They do it every morning. They do a quick leadership lesson, and they do it 10 to 12 minutes, and it just sets the tone for the day.
It's a quick personal touch.
Yeah, I love that. All right.
The last idea. This is a bigger idea, but not expensive. Be sure, leaders who are listening now, be sure to provide a sense of purpose and hope. This is part of the need that I think Generation Z has. They have grown up leveraging the left hemisphere of their brain on social media or on a phone, not the right hemisphere. You don't find meaning in the left hemisphere of your brain. It can make you laugh. You're over there on TikTok or whatever. But I think leaders need to remember we're dealers in hope.
We are.
Napoleon Bonaparte first said that back in the 18th or 19th century. So this may sound really syrupy, but Gen Zers long for meaning that goes beyond quarterly numbers and reports. So with their pessimistic outlook, which we talked about earlier, they're needing their leader to speak words of belief in them and hope for the future and purpose. I would say bosses and leaders listening, make sure you articulate clearly, here's the mission. And here's what we're trying to do to change lives by our product or service.
And when they behave in that way, pull it back.
Yeah.
Pull it back to, hey,
Yeah.
your behavior here is driving
Yeah.
our purpose and mission. They have to feel meaning. That drives the engagement.
You're connecting their job to
Yeah.
the overall mission.
And what they're doing, even when they don't feel like they're doing something worthwhile,
Yeah.
what they're doing connects right back
Yeah,
to the
that's right.
organization.
Yep, you're right.
To drive that engagement.
Yeah. So just a closing thought, Susan, here. I raised my eyebrows when I saw the latest research by the Barna Research Group. These are friends of mine that are out in California. But they have found that Gen Z is returning to faith
I've seen this
like we
movement.
have not seen before in their generation. In fact, and the reason I bring this up is this is the meaning and purpose thing again.
I have teens. I am
Yeah.
seeing this, that more of their friends are
Yeah.
skipping prom and they're skipping to
that
go to
interesting?
youth retreats
Yeah.
or to skip homecoming. A
Yeah.
friend last year, my daughter's not going to homecoming. She's
Yeah.
going to the youth retreat.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing this trend. They all want to go to youth.
So I think maybe they have seen the emptiness, if I can say it this way, of our society today. And let's face it, I'm not blaming any one person, but it's rather hollow. Social media is a place to react, not reflect. And so they want to reflect. And I love this movement, but I'm saying it is a movement toward I long for meaning and I long for purpose. And I think some of them coming back to church is a great thing, but maybe we can provide some of that meaning even Monday through Friday as we interact with humans, not just worker bees
Not just worker
at our office. Yeah.
So it all goes back to the relationship. And, whether they're even a Christian or not, it's just that
Yeah.
community.
Yes,
They
that's
want
right.
that community more and more.
Yeah.
So as leaders, we have to provide that
That's right.
community. Wow. What a great conversation, Tim. I appreciate it. Hey, if you found this conversation helpful, consider sharing it with somebody. Share this with someone you think would benefit from this. And if you'd like to have a workshop, maybe you have a team members that aren't getting along. Maybe you're struggling to build this culture of community within your organization. Visit us at maxwellleadership.com/generations. Drop us a line. We'll get in touch with you. We'd love to come serve your organization well. And Tim, you're also serving organizations as well too.
Yeah, if I can help you with this subject or anything on generations, you can go to my website, timelmore.com. But Susan, something else they can find there that I'm pretty excited about.
excited about this
I
too.
just released a brand new ebook that's absolutely free. It's 80 pages, so it's long. It's designed to make sure we bring team members together from any generation. So I'm calling it Build a Better You so we can build a better us. And it's on building emotional connections on your team. And I'm pretty excited, especially because it's free. It's designed to talk through with team members Monday through Friday.
And they can get that at timelmore.com?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. So get your free ebook at timelmore.com. If you're interested in a workshop, go to maxwellleadership.com/generations. And that's it for this topic.
Yeah.
The scary topic
Yes,
today.
revenge of Generation Z.
Revenge. Hey, we appreciate you being with us on Generations at Work. And until the next podcast, we'll see you then.